Who are you, or who are you both, and what can people expect from the kind of content that you create?
The Brick Adjuster channel first started in 2014, and I was running it consistently, daily videos. Actually, two videos a day, from 2014 all the way to 2017, and then took a break, Pokemon Go break, and then in 2021, January 2021, January 1st, came back and started doing daily videos again until now, 2023.
And even then, like the content has evolved, like his
previous videos. So back in 2014, every morning there'd be a Q&A video, and it was called What? It was like, what? It was like South Park. It was a Cartman's mom that would say what, like a clucking chicken. So that was my little thing there. So my sig fig had the chicken hat on, hat.
Yeah.
And then so every morning would be a Q&A video
from viewers, like whatever questions.
Yeah, whatever viewers had, then I'd answer that question. And then in the afternoon would be either a haul video, a review, Lego shopping, a mock video, a room tour, like it's just a different video each day, basically.
And it was just speed builds, and he had excellent speed builds videos.
Yeah, like stop motion builds.
It really just depended on the viewership at that time and what was trending.
It was basically I just wanted to share my Lego hobby, so that was kind of the whole point. So just kind of share like what I'd buy. The kids would be in the videos. So back then, our 18-year-old, I guess, was 9, and then our 13-year-old was like 4.
Yeah.
So they'd be excited to be in the videos, and so they would help.
Part of the hauls.
Yeah, they would help unveil whatever haul I get, and they would give their opinions on the reviews, like what their favorite part of the sets were and stuff like that. Just a lot of sharing, like what our hobby was what it was
and
back then.
And it was a good time to spend with the kids, right?
Yeah.
Away from, like, together, just because our lives then were just so busy. Both of us were also working full time. And at the end of the day or the weekend, it's like, how do we make a meaningful connection with each other through play, right? So, I mean, yes, we're quite a sporty, athletic family too, but you can only run and bike for so much in a day. And so they're like, okay, my knees kind of hurt. And then let's go back indoors. And then, so what's a quieter activity together that isn't just watching TV or playing video games?
And back in 2014, Maria was also on maternity leave.
Yeah.
So that's where she was able to start her Brick Zapper channel. And on her channel, she drew.
Yeah, I did a lot of speed draws of specifically Lego minifigures.
Yeah.
And I guess that was what I was enamored with. Really, with Lego, I love all the little minifigures. They had such personality to them. And initially, I was drawing the Ninjago ones because I really loved them. Just, if you
her Ninjago videos have like more views than like my videos.
Really?
People watching her speed draws.
And the thing though is, like, I love details, and I've always loved art. And I am not in art. I'm in healthcare. But in terms of that was my outlet when I was home with the baby. Right? He'd go for a nap, and here I am going, okay, what can I do? So I will stop cleaning the house. Really, that's really the point. And Nick's like, go back into art, right? I always have so much art supplies and stuff. I just always say I never have the time, and I'm restless. That as much as I say I love to read, I need to do something with my hands, maybe something more tangible that I see a product or I feel an accomplishment about it. And so drawing became a thing. And at one point, I became quite proficient that I would have 2 sketches a day. And it was just something that I would do. I had Copic markers, and they're like, a great media that they really blend with each other.
And then I don't know if you remember, but aside from your speed draws on your channel, we also had, similar to what Full of Brick is now, we had like a talk show called Brick Talk.
Oh, right.
Do you remember that?
Yes.
Really?
And so it was basically like the groundwork of what Full of Brick is now, but it wasn't a live stream. It was just us recording. And so it wasn't our faces. We hadn't made our face reveals yet.
Yeah, it was just our minifigures.
It was just our minifigures, but it was basically a talk show with our minifigures where we kind of discuss Lego news, or we discussed different things. We'd play like games on there too. They're like maybe like 8-10 minute
Yes.
little videos,
Yes.
but those are I don't know, we probably did like 20 of them or
Yes.
so.
Wow.
So that was in there. Also on your channel, you'd always do the advent calendar daily
Yes, with the kids.
openings with the kids.
And so that would be a
And so that would
countdown
be
to
on her
Christmas
channel.
starting December 1st, right?
Yeah.
But it was really something fun that we did as a family, something that we did as a couple, right? Because like life is so busy. It's like, do we have time to go to the movies? No, but let's go to the basement, build some Lego. Maybe not someone's cup of tea, but for us it worked.
Our actual face reveals were still not on our main channel. It was actually on my vlog channel. So I have a vlog channel, Nick's Brick Life. And so our face reveal there was, we started Full of Brick. And so Full of Brick it's what it is now, but it wasn't on the Brick Adjuster channel. It was on my vlog channel. And so it's basically what it is now, but back then it wasn't as segmented. Because right now we have like the getting to know you, weekly recap, show and tell, and like news that you can use. Where back then it was just basically weekly recap.
Yeah.
We would just talk about our week for like an hour.
And it's interesting, in terms of like content creation, like Nick is very much into editing videos and splicing them, that I actually forget that this is a video. Like to me, I'm having a conversation with you.
Yeah.
I don't even realize that this is live. To me, this is live because yes, we are live, but it doesn't go beyond this in my head. And then Nick starts playing like all these videos. I'm like, oh, right, I said that, right? Like I just take it for the connection that I'm given with any content creator or any guest that we have. And I don't know, I like to just appreciate the time that we have here learning about each other, right? But I always forget that, oh yeah, this is going to be live somewhere.
So your question was, the original question was about our channels, what people would expect from our channels now.
Absolutely.
And so on the Brick Adjuster channel now, it's kind of different from 2014. Basically, the schedule right now is on Mondays, it's either you'll see a shopping, it's called Lego Hunts, so a shopping type video, or a review, don't like, of like a new set. And so that's usually Mondays. And then Tuesdays, it's normally a haul video. So me and my youngest son now, because the older two,
they don't want to play with
they don't want to be in videos anymore. So the youngest one is in videos. And so we'll like
for it. I know.
Unbox like a Lego shop at home box and then see what's inside. And so that's usually on the Tuesday. And then the Wednesday is just a review of just like, it doesn't have to be like a new set. It could be like any set. And again, it's like a don't like, what I like about it, what I don't like about it. On Thursday, it's a stop motion build. And so normally whenever I build a set, I'll always do it stop motion style, where I'll have the pieces move and do whatever. The only time I won't do it stop motion if it's like a huge set, like say like the Ninjago City Market, I won't do a stop motion.
Oh my God.
Or like a modular. I used to before. Like I have stop motions of like the helicarrier, and stop motions of the old Tumbler and of like the detective's office and the Quickie Mart.
Because what's the screenshot for those every 3 seconds? Like click.
Yeah, it just takes a long time to put all the sounds in.
Yeah.
And then so now I just do it for like the regular size sets. And then on Fridays is a room update. So like a weekly room update, which is just basically stuff I do in the Lego room.
How he moved things around and finding shelves, and how I'm like, oh,
how I play in my Lego room, where I
found
put
more
things.
Space here. How could we find more space here? Amazing.
It might even be like going to IKEA and getting more shelves and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then Friday night is when we do our Full of Brick live stream
with Harold. No More Bricks.
So it used to be Saturday mornings at 8 a.m.
And then I just had like a bunch of on-calls in a row that it was too difficult to slot it in there.
And back then we didn't have guests because no one's going to want to be a guest at 8 a.m. in the morning.
Oh, is that why?
And so when we moved it to Friday nights at 10 p.m. Eastern time, then I started asking other content creators,
what are you doing Friday night,
if they wanted to be on. And so we've started doing that Friday nights. And then Saturday and Sunday, I usually just have shorts in there, and they're just like clips of Full of Brick.
Yeah. But I think in essence, like we share this just really for the love of it, right? Like
it's not really for like getting like monetized, like money or subscribers or anything.
It's really just,
it's just
for the fun.
Just me like just putting out, because I like making videos. And so just me putting out a video, if no one watches it, doesn't matter to me. As long as I like, it's entertaining
It's a
me.
creative process for you, a creative outlet for
Yeah,
him,
as long as
right?
I watch it again, I'm like, oh, this is entertaining me.
But even like our family vlog, you know, I again forget all the times that we had all these videos, and now I hear our youngest play it back, and I can't believe really that we have been able to capture that part of our lives. And I appreciate now. I actually see like their first walks or like our trip somewhere. You know what I mean? And like a still photo, these ones are actually there moving.
Yeah.
And so
like the vlog channel used to be daily vlogs, and it was like daily vlogs for like a good 2-3 years. But now it's basically whenever there's an occasion, I'll do a video.
Yeah.
So
his parents and my mom
it's
love
like
watching stuff like that.
like a Christmas
It's our
get
birthday.
together or birthdays. When we went to Punta Cana, there's like a video there.
Yeah. But it's like to highlight and commemorate, I don't know, our life, right? Like we have so much available
Instead of
means out there.
photo albums now, we have this. So if the YouTube goes kaput, then we'll lose all this. But it's
for now, it's over there, right?
It's there to watch for us.
That's really impressive to have this massive backlog of like chronicled moments in your life in almost a decade.
If you go to my Brick Adjuster channel, there's like 2,000 videos. Like I don't know if it's like it's
a lot.
It's a big number.
But for him, it was his hobby, right? And I mean, I don't know. Maybe we don't sleep a lot. We really don't. I feel like between the two of us, we each sleep about 5 hours a night, and so there's a lot of time. I feel that I fill my day from morning to end. When we went to Chicago Brick World, I dropped him off. How much?
3.7 thousand videos on the Brick Adjuster channel.
Wow.
So he's
and then on Nik's Brick Life, there's probably a lot too.
Yes.
But
wow. Yeah. So we're talking thousands upon thousands of videos
of just Lego.
Lego.
You'll see our kids as little kids, and then now as like old. So it's interesting too.
Wow.
Even hearing their voices, like as like high pitched voices.
I think for me that's the main thing, right? Like I actually was able to somehow immortalize how my kids were at that moment, and with me playing, there's something that you kind of remember. Oh, my parents played with me when I was small, but this is like tangible proof that there's something out there that we were together for this moment, playing.
Yeah.
Together, getting along.
Yeah.
No one was fighting. But it's been fun, it's been a fun journey. And I mean, we're still on this journey. And I guess because we have all this Lego, I hate to say it, but like our kids kind of take it for granted, or they're not so into Lego, right? It's like, mom and dad, they have a washing machine. It's like that. Mom and dad, they have Lego.
Yeah.
Right. But for us too, I mean, even before Lego, I think there's just innately in us just a sense of collecting. I always grew up collecting something or another. My parents too were collectors of I don't know, kitschy stuff. I don't know what it is, right? My dad had a pen collection that I
collected a lot of things when I was little.
You had coins, I had stamps. I don't know.
I had rubber band collections.
And so as a couple, we understood this need to collect.
In my closet, I had pop can collections. I collected sports sections of newspapers as a kid.
We still have that rubber ball. It's yay big. Like my kids are using the rubber bands now, like 30 years later.
Before I got into Lego, if you watch some of my old videos, you'll see the background are DVDs. This was all DVDs behind me.
Wow.
And so now all the DVDs are in the garage, and then some are in the laundry room still, the ones that I still kind of watch. But a lot of it was collecting
DVDs has just been a big part of
as a couple, as individuals. I feel like it takes one to know one, and don't get me wrong, like we work hard to amass whatever material items this is, but I think you have to fill your life with treasure, your personal treasures, right? Like be it whatever it is to other people's interpretation. But I go into my house and I know it's full of things that give me joy. Beyond like my children, right? Like
we also collect jerseys now too. If you watch Full of Bricks, we have all these. I feel
like his closet has now taken over like with jerseys. I'm like, what else are we gonna?
But they're geeky jerseys.
So this is kind of cool that I look nice and slim and sleek in like this cool black shirt.
This is gonna be our new collection. This is gonna be our new collection.
Oh my god!
How many other Amore faces can we get?
Yeah, I'm working on more, and I know actually a lot of
more
Amore
shirts.
We want more Amore shirts.
I have I have more coming, and then I know that we're trying to get AZ to do some with with his face,
the birthday face. The
birthday face of him with that disgusted filter on his face. So it's very possible that you will get to collect a lot more types of those shirts. So
he also has the crying face. The crying face one is a good one too.
It's really good too.
Have you seen? You haven't seen AZ's crying face. That's a good one.
But yeah, before that, we used to actually wear a brick zapper, brick adjuster.
Oh,
shirts.
really? Yeah. Do you have merch?
Yeah, we have.
Those were the mini.
Not really.
Not really.
That was just like
fun.
That was like our uniform in Full of Brick before the whole jersey.
I didn't know I was uniformed.
Because we had like black ones, we had white ones, and then we would like stagger them. You had like a pink one.
Yeah. And then when we went to Philly Brick Fest, you see all these other vendors with like their cool merchandise, and I don't know. Again, shirt collecting, I don't know what you call it, but like
I have a lot of Lego shirts that we used to wear also on Full of Brick. Like
I guess some people amass gold.
Yeah. I can really identify with that though, because I used to I had different collections growing up. I used to collect comic books. I had trading cards.
Trading cards.
So I
Smurf Village.
Really? Yeah, she collected Smurfs before.
Smurf Village, like with the houses, like, and my dad loved it. Like, we'd go to the grocery store, and my mom's like, "No more toys," and then we'd come back with like a Smurf because it's small and innocuous, and it was probably $2 way back when, right? But like over time, like I have a village. It's all in a box now. Sometimes our youngest plays with it, but it's about 120 little.
Is it
Smurfs.
worth anything?
I don't know. It's by the maker Schley. Right, they also make like a lot of like molded forms. So I still have that from my childhood, and it's again nostalgic, right? I can't part. So, but yeah, we are very much collectors in that sense. I will work forever. There's no retirement plan for me. My retirement plan is collecting more years. I collect more years at this point.
I get it. Game. How did Lego come into the picture for both of you?
So she actually started Lego before me. It was Maria and our eldest son, Tristan.
Isn't there a prayer in church?
So what was it, 2010 or 2011?
See, more gets it.
I get it.
Tristan was grade 2. So he would be 7. So around 2009.
Is when you started?
Yes, it's when I started. And I think what triggered me were actually the first wave of Harry Potters. Very new, very fresh. And I love Harry Potter. I love the book. That's another collection I have. I have all sorts of editions of Harry Potter.
She does.
Wow.
The whole collection. The different schools, the different American edition, European edition, Canadian edition, first edition. My kids are like, how many more Harry Potters we're going to read? We're going to read them forever. And you guys will never have to buy Harry Potters your life. This is it. You want to be part of Slytherin school? I got you that. Anyhow, that's off the tangent. But yes, the Lego Star Wars came out when he was around grade 2. And I just love the idea of Lego partnering, collaborating with the whole Harry Potter world, right? Mm-hmm. And so, of course, with Tristan, he was the eldest grandson. So, of course, we have the grandparents asking, "Oh, what does Tristan want for his birthday?" The friends, "What can we get Tristan for his birthday?" And here I was feeding, because what I wanted was the Lego Harry Potter. Oh, Tristan wants Lego. And if you can guide sort of like that answering, right? And Tristan did enjoy Lego. Like I think he had a few of the initial two and ones or things like that. And then sometimes you have the power to steer your child, right? I just want to say it like that. You steer your child through the content that you present them. I'm a huge reader, so of course my kids are readers too, with the content of books that I present to them. Yeah. But as a parent, I think that is part of responsibility, but part of the joy or privilege of being a parent to a child. You are steering what their interests may be. I don't know why Nick's kids don't like to play sports, but my children love museums, love art galleries, very great at art.
I was so excited to get 3 boys. Because I'm big into sports, but actually the last one might be my only hope.
Yes. We're still.
He's starting to really like basketball.
Oh,
and he's quite athletic,
and he's pretty good.
And don't get me wrong, the other 2 are pretty athletically inclined.
They just don't have interest
into sports.
They don't like watching anything.
So Nick watches by his lonely self.
They don't like watching basketball.
We're gonna go downtown to the art gallery.
They don't like watching baseball or hockey, anything like that.
So our 2 oldest guys, they have just graduated grade 8 with the most prolific in art award.
Yeah,
and also Tristan in high school had the highest I don't know award.
So they're good. They're good artists.
So they are good in artists. And again, I as a parent, everything is so technical sometimes in life. Everything is so routine in academics, right? That I want my kids to have that creative outlet, right? And I feel the iPad is taking so much of their time. Sure. And I'm always telling them someone is being creative, presenting all their ideas to you, and you're lapping it up. But how do you express your own creativity? So I'm always saying, draw something, sketch something, build something. And Lego is, of course, that tool for us, right? And our oldest was actually very, very good at building mocks.
Yeah.
From a very early stage.
And for those who don't know what mocks are, it's my own creation, which is just basically
whatever bricks you can get.
Not building.
That's right.
Yeah, not building from instructions.
Right, because I'm very instructional. Like when I get a set, I want to have that set look exactly like what the picture is on the box. Right. And then display it for all perpetuity, right? Like that's my goal. It's beautiful.
Where Tristan, he never wanted to follow the instructions anyways.
He just made his stuff. And so even when we would visit the Lego store, he would literally always make sabers and swords like quickly out of
from the pick-a-brick
walls and stuff like that, and then just leave it there. And he could just see things in 3D. And and at one point, and of course now he's not really so much into Lego, but that was always like part of his building process, like how he
goes to school for industrial design now.
Oh, that's
incredible. So yeah, he makes a lot of weapons actually out of wood.
I don't like wood in my craft.
Like big katana swords. He made Maria a scythe.
I have a scythe for Mother's Day. I have that aspect of my life that I
nunchucks. He's made different like
daggers, switchblades, all that of
and this was the one
knights, swords with knights.
Going back to the story of getting into Lego, this was the child that you were getting Lego for early
very much.
Wow.
Like even our first visits to Philly Brick Fest, for example, Nick would bring his mocks, but Tristan would also have his mocks. And they're like
he actually won an award. I think 2017 he won best superhero mock at Philly Brick Fest.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So he would build like I guess they're
like like Marvel figures.
Before the Marvel figures came out, he would have what are those things?
The joints, the mixels.
The mixels. And there's another one, like it was like a whole series of Lego as well, but they're like robots.
Constructions.
Robot things. But
mechs.
Mechs, yeah. So he would have a lot of those. But yeah, so Tristan got into Lego maybe because I steered into Lego thinking it is that creative toy, right? It's not just an action figure. It's not a gun. It's not a Nerf gun. I mean, so in my head, I'm like, there's a lot of possibilities with Lego, but I was rigid in the sense that I wanted, again, the product, right? So an example would be the Harry Potter purple bus.
The Knights bus.
We would create it, and then I'd go to work. The following day, I'd come home, and it's all in shambles because he wanted to create something out of it.
Yeah.
And I would literally recreate it again. And so I think of all the sets here, I've at one point memorized how to build this purple bus over and over again. It was like a struggle, right? The son who wanted to create and be creative from the bricks he has, and the mother who's like, nope, I want it to be like the double-decker bus or however.
Yeah.
And all this time, I had no idea any of this was going on. Lego was just like another thing that the kids are playing with.
Just another toy that
I wasn't even interested. I wasn't. I think at this time I was big into marathon running at this time. So I just spent a lot of time
establishing a clinic,
running, and Lego was the furthest from my mind.
And part of it was, again, like Nick worked so much, and as I did too, but our schedules were so different that I did have a lot of time to play with our kids. But we also hung out at my parents' house. My parents just lived down the road. And so a lot of their toys too were at my parents' house. So actually in their
Lego
house,
there.
They had the Harry Potter castle. They bought him the Hogwarts.
Wow. I think that's 2011.
Yes,
Hogwarts
and my
castle.
Dad, being an engineer, he I think also wanted to like dabble in Lego and
kind of build with
Tristan. I think so. But because again, they had the grandkid who who took things apart, they wouldn't put it back together. So they would just have like the big box of Hogwarts, and it's just all mixed pieces in there.
Mix.
Yeah. And they would just let Tristan play with it as he was there, right? And so I think maybe their biggest thing, like always keeping it neat, was because our second guy was just a baby, and they were afraid, he's gonna choke on this Lego. So you have to be very careful with your baby brother and stuff.
So you were building Lego with the kiddos, and then at what point, Nick, were you like?
So I think it was 20.
I know it's a slippery slope that I had no idea. Maybe I didn't want to run so much. Maybe I'm like, maybe I'm gonna have mixed.
I know this story because
so
I've told it a few times. So it's 2012. The very first set that I actually built with instructions, it was a Creator 3-in-1 set. It was a lighthouse. I think it was like the 2011 or 2012 something lighthouse.
And was that also a gift to Tristan, right?
Yeah,
I think
I
so.
guess.
Yeah.
And so I just remember we were in the family room, and I just sat down with him and I was putting it together. I was like, "Oh, this is cool. This is like just following step by step," and it was.
And in my head, I'm like, "Oh, good, you're playing
it
with a kid. Okay, I'm gonna go do stuff."
So we did it
away from the kid.
And then maybe like a few weeks later, we were at the mall, and we just happened to go into the Lego store,
which I was already a huge.
Yeah, Maria's been there a lot of
shopper.
times. This was my first time going into the Lego store.
Yeah,
and so I went in, and the first thing I noticed were the architecture sets, and I just kept looking at them. I'm like, oh, this is interesting. It's like actual buildings
for adults, like it's
that. So I was looking at the White House specifically. I was like, wow, they have a model of the White House, but made out of Lego. And so this is 2012.
Really? Of all the sets, that's what's getting to
so I kept looking at the one. I kept looking.
Really?
I kept looking at that.
Water.
And then that same trip that we're there, Tristan picked up the town hall modular building. He had it in his hand, and he said to Maria and myself, "Oh, can we get this?" And I guess Maria was like, "Yeah, okay, we'll get it." So we ended up bringing home,
thinking it would be many days worth of building, like many days, right?
So we brought home the town hall modular building, went to the kitchen table, opened up all the bags.
Yeah, we didn't know that there was,
I don't even know if there were numbers on those bags, but we opened up all the bags. I started sorting them, putting them in order, knolling, I guess.
Knolling.
Yeah,
but I don't do that anymore. Like I just build. But back then I was like, no, we can't start until everything's
perfect. And so Tristan's like, really? Mom doesn't do this.
So, because I thought that's the way you're supposed to do it, because there were so many pieces because we opened up all the bags.
Yeah.
So we started.
And of course, the first set that he does this is like only the modular, right? Like
yeah. So we started. I think we got through like the first floor, and then it was like bedtime.
Mm-hmm.
So we're like, okay, we'll work on this tomorrow. And so Tristan went up, and then I just kept looking at the pieces. I'm like, oh, maybe I'll do another bag. So I started doing another bag, and then all of a sudden I was done. And then
all of a sudden, like 3 a.m.
and then
he was done.
Tristan comes down the next morning. He's like, "What? You finished it without me?" And
there, suddenly it's not my toy anymore. It's Dad's toy.
So I'm not sure if it was the next day or a few days later, I found myself back at the Lego store.
Slippery slopes.
And I was looking again at that architecture White House. And so I ended up bringing it to the cashier. And so I was like, okay, so I think I'm going to buy this. And then the cashier is like, oh, is this for you? I'm like, no, I'm getting this for my son.
Yeah.
Even though like this
Such
is like,
it's
amazing. Like, I don't know, 14 plus or 18.
Yeah,
and my son's like 9 or.
Yeah.
I was embarrassed. To buy a Lego set for myself.
Yeah.
This was like the first Lego set buying it. I'm like, because this is a toy for kids and I'm buying it. But yeah, that's kind of the slippery slope. Ended up getting all the architecture was the theme I was into when we first started. Ended up getting all the architecture sets that were available.
And they would first go to like his clinic, and I didn't even realize to be building between he sees patients or whatnot.
Yeah,
I was in the clinic.
I was building
I'll go
at
to the
work.
clinic. I'm like, oh, this is new. How come I never saw this?
And then,
before?
and then we started getting the other modulars. I know Maria.
I was excited about.
Maria went to Detroit, and you brought home Fire Brigade and Grand Emporium.
So around that time, the exchange rate between U.S. and Canada were 1-to-1 par. And you know how they have packaging pricing, and there's usually a 1.2, 1.3% difference. Well, all of a sudden, it's a lot cheaper to cross the border and get it at the 1-to-1 ratio, right? And bring it
Yeah.
back. And we were doing that for a while, actually. And we were heavily into marathoning at that point, that one of our trips was a marathon to Seattle.
And we got the Death Star.
Yeah, we literally packed an empty suitcase, right, with the intention of buying the Death Star. You can call the head.
Like we took it out of the box. We just put all the bags in there
and
a lot
packed
cheaper.
that in, because we would be saving the exchange rate and plus the taxes, because the taxes here in Ontario. So we were trying to be as, I don't know, savvy as we can in terms of pricing, right? Like, I mean, it is not expensive hobby, but so we were trying to be smart about it at a certain
whenever
point.
there was like a 20% off sale at Toys R Us, that's when I would go. Yeah. That's basically two now. Like, and yet I'll get waves at Toys R Us. We still have Toys R Us in Canada.
Yeah, the hoarding collectors in us were such that we just want it all at once, right? And so the modulars, by then we were how many modulars late already?
We don't have the first three. So the first three we missed out: Cafe Corner, Green Grocer, and Market Street. So those were already retired. Yes. Getting them on third party isn't as expensive as it is now. But back then,
we were still
thinking
like the cost of real estate, right?
That's too expensive to get compared to what's out there now. Yes. Now it's like crazy.
Yes.
Crazy how much it is.
But then when you also see the evolution of how detailed the current modulars are compared to the first three, you're just like, am I really going to spend that much just for the?
Yeah, it's not.
I don't know.
There's no interior.
Right.
It's not
exactly.
It's not
Other than it was number 1, 2, and 3, and being a completist kind of collector. Yeah. You know, there's a pull in me that I want number 1, 2, and 3, but do I?
Yeah. Right? Yeah, I'm not really attached to those.
Yeah. But so it started off with a child, and then it kind of got taken over by the father.
After that architecture set that you bought, was it pretty much like no turning back? Were you pretty much that was it?
I was in, yeah. I was getting all, and so the Lego room. I think the Lego room, there was no basement Lego room yet. It was just I was just putting stuff upstairs, and then I started. I got an IKEA shelf for the laundry room. So then started putting stuff up in the laundry room. I think the themes after architecture and the modular, I started getting like the Lord of the Rings and Hobbit.
Yes, so those, right? Like again,
I got the Lone Ranger themes were coming out. Yeah. And a lot of the things that I was buying now was also influenced by YouTube. So I was watching a lot of YouTube reviews. So I was watching The Brick Show. I was watching Brick Queen. I was watching Brickstar. Mm-hmm. I was watching Your Creative Friends, and so they did a lot of reviews of sets. And then when I'm watching them, I'm like, oh, I want to buy this now.
Terrible.
And so I started buying Star Wars too, and I started buying
and I would get
Legends of Chima.
Yes.
I started buying that.
Yeah.
And so it was like,
but really how things have exploded in the last 3 years even. Right. When there is like a Lego set, like a major Lego set that's available almost every month, if not every 3 weeks, it's like next level. Like,
it wasn't like that before.
When we started collecting, there was no website, right? Everything was calendar based.
There was a website.
There was a website. It wasn't like this extensive, right? There was Lego, but again, in terms of their marketing, it's really next level now. It's really like, do we eat groceries this month or do we just buy Lego? I don't even know.
They're putting out more big sets now than there were even 3 years ago.
Yes.
Even before COVID hit.
Yes.
They weren't putting as many of these big $500, $400 sets every month.
Yes.
So before it was
what they think.
Before, like it would be like the helicarrier might be the big set that year.
Yes.
Or the tumbler might be the big set. And you
look forward to it. And now there's like a big set almost every month.
Yeah, right? There's like a lot of big sets.
And before Lego used to host monthly builds for kids, free builds. And so I would always line up with the kids because they love to build things and they're cute little mini builds and it's for free.
Yeah.
You just show up at the store and they stopped doing that with COVID. But at a certain point, it got so overly saturated, word of mouth, right? Hey, Lego's giving out free Lego.
You'd have to book.
And you needed to book it. And suddenly it's like, okay, I can't do this. Like I could do it if it was like freely during the day, if I had a shift later in the afternoon or if I was coming home from a shift. But if it had to be that I had to make a certain time frame, it got tricky. And in the same vein too, Tristan started to get away from Lego. He was just older, right? And so having the two younger brothers who kind of followed his suit, at first they're like, oh, if Tristan doesn't want to go, we don't want to go either. But I'm like, no, you're also building Lego, but you can't for something like this. Too,
Yeah,
right? I feel like a lot of their influence always by the older siblings somehow or another.
Yeah.
So like Tristan's into anime now. So now Mason, the middle guy,
also
is now into anime.
Who knew?
Wow.
And I see Hayden starting to watch some of it too. So like they're all copying the older sibling.
Yeah, each of them are about 4.5 years apart. So we've really like lived through like a good chunk of childhood, babyhood per kid, right? Going through the different phases and stuff, and kind of learning through each one.
Yeah.
But again, they all each have their own unique personalities. So it's been an interesting just evolution altogether. But even like their approach to Lego, where Tristan was very much like a mocker. And Mason, too, was very creative in his own way. He loved monsters in general. He would sketch monsters, like cute monsters. But he would always use mixels, and he loved mixels, the mill guy. And then there's Hayden, who I feel like was a bit removed from Lego because it's just part of his breathing and being. Yeah. That he's like, oh, yeah, that's just, there, I go in and there's a, like I said, a dining room table, but there's also Lego. It's just being. But lately, he's also getting into Lego where he just helped Nick build a bunch of the Minecraft sets.
Yeah.
And he really loved those. He was actually asking for them. I'm like, really? You're asking for Lego? There's a lot of Lego.
I don't have to help him anymore. He can just do it.
Just open something that hasn't opened yet, right? So, but it has been a fun journey, like collectively as a family.
Yeah, that's amazing. You mentioned that you were watching YouTube videos and checking out reviews. At what point did you decide to start posting content yourself on Lego, and because you have Lego and the vlog and all that as well?
My first YouTube video, January of 2014, and even in that video, I kind of mentioned that the reason why I'm starting this channel or this video is I just want to. I've been watching other channels such as the ones I've mentioned, and I just want to try to emulate that, like try to make videos that I'm watching myself, and I'm like, oh, I have Lego, I can kind of do what these guys are doing, and so that's what I tried to do. I think the first video was a haul video, and it was at my clinic. Very shaky cam. Had my iPhone 3. Nice. I used my iPhone 3 on there, so it's nice and grainy. And very, very makeshift video. But that's how it starts, and then it just the quality gets better as you just learn.
But even he even had like music, like his background music for his
had my
channel.
It's like a swing music.
Yeah, it's like a swing music that was copyright free and stuff like that. But it was like almost like his.
But it was on
it
was on every single video. Yeah. This swing music. But
you need to be thematic, right?
Yeah,
you need to,
it's all about branding. The branding. Yeah. I kept
gotta be consistent.
So brick adjuster. I'm a chiropractor, so adjuster is a chiropractic adjustment, and so that's where I got the brick adjuster. And then Maria Brick Zapper. Zapper, she's a radiation therapist.
So we zap cancer.
So they zap cancer, and that's where Brick Zapper came from.
And we're kind of like BA to BZ, right?
And back then, a lot of them, of the YouTubers had the brick something. So Brick Czar, Brick Queen, Brick Show.
And it was interesting because like when Instagram also around that time started up, I was just drawn to Instagrammers, Lego Instagrammers who would post their minifigures in a life scene. It's not necessarily people who build, but they would have their little moniker and place it like say by their sig figs and place it like say by a coffee and a croissant and saying I'm having French croissant, right? Or something like that. And I love those, setting the scene with your little toy, right? And so that was what my Brick Zapper was doing initially too. It was like when we traveled, I'd post her in front of, I don't know, a museum or another landmark somewhere that we'd go to, or beside a deep dish pizza if we're in Chicago. But I thought that was like fun, right?
And now there's like reels and stories and all sorts of things.
Sorts of crazy things. And
music that you can put. You can follow this flashy emotes.
But nobody's really into sig figs anymore. And I mean,
sig figs aren't really a thing as they were before.
Big thing too before was he had a bridge of sig figs.
So. It was called the sig fig bridge. So I don't know if you know the Tower Bridge set
for London.
Yeah, the London Tower Bridge set. So I had that. I have the big Tower Bridge, and I built like stadium seating in there. And then I used to make people's sig figs, or people would send me their sig figs just to be on the bridge, because people wanted to be on the bridge. That was like a big thing in 2015, 16. The sig fig bridge. So a lot of T-falls, the teenagers would, oh, I want to be on the bridge. Make me. So
I think that was also another, I don't know, cool aspect of us just going through this journey, because I didn't realize we had viewers who were probably like 12, 13 then, and now meeting them 10 years later, and
they're all
them
adults.
Are, adults, not even just
so a few of them adults. We met at Brick World Chicago, who said that they were watching us when they were like 14, 15 years old.
And some of them are like big
they're like
YouTubers, right?
So like
Justin from
Our Toy World, Just Too Good,
so,
Brother from Another Brick, like BFAB. These are all like YouTubers who were like teenagers when I started, but now they're like in their 20s. And so
they always watch your what. We always watch all your,
because we've had a few of them on the Full of Brick talk show.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're telling us in their childhood they remember watching these what videos and all this stuff.
So it's kind of cool. Like if there's like another cycle of Lego connections right there, right? And it keeps going, hopefully like our playfulness, our hobby will inspire others as we are inspired by others right now. And just, again, the level of content, the variety of content continues to evolve. Like I don't even have a TikTok account, and yet I'm mesmerized by it. Like Instagram sucks so much of my life. It's all the short form reels and everything, right? And of course, I'm sure the pandemic also played a huge part in a lot of this, because then everybody was home. And suddenly, what do we do home again but Lego? So I think Nick's explosion of Lego, his second wave really, is during this pandemic, where what can we do?
Even during like when I was doing my Pokemon Go fest, I was still buying sets regularly. I just wasn't making any videos just because I was busy playing Pokemon Go. Doing raid after
so was
raid.
This legitimately the reason like you took a break from making videos or...
Yeah, that was it. Because I was based
on Pokemon Go.
I was playing Pokemon Go. I was ranked.
No, we went to Montreal for Pokemon Go.
I was ranked in Canada in a bunch of categories in Pokemon Go, like most gold gyms, and then Pokemon card and stuff like that.
So we are maybe goal driven, like to an extent, right? It's always like something and that's the thing, like when people are like, you didn't realize your husband was awake. If he wasn't Pokemon Go, at one point he was training extensively for marathon running.
Wow.
Like, and before that he was in school always extensively for studying. Like it's just his personality, right? And that's why doing something together with Lego was something we did together. But in the same vein, I just became also very busy with just the kids. Like I said, like I would do a lot of day trips with them, or some weekends I'm on call too.
Like right now, even for videos, like Duck Bricks talks about having videos till 2025. I have a lot of videos scheduled for 2025, like deep into 2025 So it's
something happens and Nick disappears, and the universe swallows him up.
Videos
are still going
even when I stopped posting when I stopped posting videos in 2017 playing Pokemon Go, videos were still going out until like maybe late into 2018.
Wow.
But just because they were scheduled already, I wasn't responding to comments or anything because I wasn't even on YouTube. I was just and then when I came back, I looked back and people are like, "Where's the Brick Adjuster? Is he dead? What happened to him?" and stuff like that in the comment sections.
Yeah.
Because I was just focused on Pokemon Go. I wasn't even going onto YouTube or.
That's quite like the hold it had on you to actually cause you to walk away from making videos regularly. At what point did you decide to get back into videos and content creation? And was there any particular event that caused that?
I guess when COVID hit, I was playing less Pokemon Go because we couldn't go into people's cars and drive around anymore.
Yeah.
And so that was all through 2020. I guess it was like March 2019, but I think 2020 they got strict about that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think it was December. Well, I know it was. It was December of 2020. I jumped into a live stream. So before going back again, 2015, 2016, when we were into YouTube, every Saturday night there was a live stream called the Saturday Night Trainwreck live stream. Yeah. And it was within the Lego community. Mm-hmm. And each week it was on someone else's channel. It would be like a 3-hour live stream or whatever. Mm. And it was consistent. And we'd play games. We'd do like mocks and everything. It was a lot of fun. December 2020, I just happened to, I wonder if this live stream is still going on. So I found it. I went in. People, they were there. I typed in the chat and they're like, oh, what? Is it 2016? The Brick Adjuster? Or like, they're like,
resurrected.
Brick Adjuster's here. And then I think the very next day, I filmed a room tour because some of my Pokemon Go friends were like, oh, we want to see your Lego room. And so I filmed a room tour. I posted it. And then that's what got the ball rolling. After that, I filmed something else. It was just like January and then it just started from there. I just got back into it. It was just me going on to that live stream, typing in the chat. Yeah. But yeah, that's what got me back into it. Just nowadays, like our Full of Brick live stream is like when we get to like sit down.
Yeah. And just
sit down in one spot.
Most relaxing
for like an hour and a half and chat with like people.
Yeah. So it also doubles as like time to bond and catch up.
Yeah. Decompress, bond.
We don't really go out to like party. Well, you do.
I do.
I don't really go out to parties or anything. my only social, like we're chatting now. This is socializing. Or when Brick and Brute came over this morning, I got to like socialize with someone.
Yeah.
I used to always socialize with my Pokemon Go friends, but I don't really see them anymore.
Yeah.
And so nowadays it's just like Lego live streaming. Or when I went to Brick World Chicago, I got to socialize with a lot of people.
Yeah.
Hopefully when we go to Brick Slopes in a few weeks, we'll get to hang out and socialize some more.
Yeah, we'll get to hang out. There'll be plenty of time to hang out. That's
for sure.
Great. And it's amazing that you've been working on YouTube, making things, content, live streams over all this time, even though there's that break that you had. It's incredible to look back and say, like 9-10 years ago is when you started. How do you think your content has changed since then?
Just the style of video is different. Like a lot more edits in there. The software has changed.
Yeah.
So back in 2014, 2015, to upload like a 5-minute video or even like a 5-6 minute video, maybe took like 4 or 5 hours to upload because internet was so slow back then.
Yeah.
And even to film took a lot longer because we couldn't upload anything from YouTube straight from our phone. So what I would do before was I would film. I wasn't filming with my, also like iPhone 13. These are good now. iPhone 3 wasn't that good. So I had to get actually a real camera. So I would film with my DSL. Is it called DSLR? Well, whatever. The camera.
Yeah.
Stick the memory card into my computer. Right. So transfer it to my computer. Then transfer it from my computer to my phone because I would always edit on my phone.
Yeah.
And then from my phone, transfer it back to my computer.
Wow.
And then upload to YouTube from my computer. And so this was like a huge, long process, which I was still able to pump up all those videos, even how it took
incredible.
It took so long back then.
To do that.
Nowadays, it's so fast to make videos that it's so easy for me to make videos now because it's so
deep into 2027.
It's so fast because I'll film something straight from my camera, edit it from my camera, upload it, like schedule it, and it takes like minutes to upload something rather than 5 hours. To upload a video, it's like so fast with the internet now.
Yeah.
So that's a big difference. Plus, there's like a lot of different softwares now that you can do cool stuff. Where back then I was making my thumbnails on PowerPoint. And now I have all these cool things where you can like crop your person, the background out, and you can have it in.
Yeah.
You can change it into like a drawing. Yeah. You can have text and everything. Rather than before, it was like I would take a photo, put it onto PowerPoint, put a font in there. That's my thumbnail. And even from PowerPoint, you couldn't go straight. I had to screenshot it from PowerPoint.
Yeah.
Crop it down. There were all these like little steps to do things back then, where now it's like automatic.
Yeah, it's really
like you have
So
to
the
like
young
do all
YouTubers,
this.
they have no idea the work that went into all those old vintage videos, the energy and
it might be like
consumption.
Because I know like you and AZ talk about like all these workarounds on Twitch to like make things happen.
Yeah.
Maybe it's kind of like that. And I'm thinking like maybe in 10 years, Twitch or whatever the software is,
Simple.
Yeah.
it might not be Twitch anymore, but it will just be so fast to get all those like crazy things happening on your screen. And
we're already starting to see that. There's a lot of like the barrier of entry is a lot lower on the tools to make things happen, and things that are available to us now make it even easier. Back when I started on Twitch almost 6 years ago, and
okay, wow,
the amount of work
Change.
just to get something to happen on screen was a lot, and now it's far more easy. There's still things you have to do, but I anticipate in the next couple of years it's just
even streamlined.
easier. Yeah,
there's still multiple steps that you have to do, whereas like maybe in the future it's just like one button or whatever.
Yeah, it's getting there. Like Twitch has rolled in a lot of the tools that you had to use. Like there were a lot of third-party tools that we would have to use to make things happen, like all the alerts and stuff that you would see on the screen. Now Twitch has actually a couple months ago released their own like internal, like, hey, you don't have to use a third party if you don't want to. I mean, the third party is far more sophisticated and customizable still, but a brand new streamer now has the ability to just make alerts. Rob the Builder was working with those last week, and he was going within like a couple hours of getting all those alerts up. So
like I was watching one of Zach Rutledge's Christmas in July streams.
Oh man.
And then when he's doing the giveaway, it's like this animation's going, and then when the name pops up, there's like something that grabs the name.
Yeah.
And if no one types in the chat, all of a sudden a monster eats the name. And there's all these things happening. It's like crazy.
Yeah, it's actually, what's impressive is that is a third-party tool that connects to Twitch. And what's amazing about it, that tool has not really changed in like the last 4 years.
Oh.
Which is...
So he's had that for a while. He's had this thing.
He's been using it for a while. I was using it when I was like fairly new to streaming, and it's changed very little. Like they've had to release occasional updates to keep it working with Twitch. But that is an example of like a third-party tool that has just always worked. And there are actually a fair number of streams that use that giveaway tool, because it's just there's no good tool that, I mean, does it to that level, right? You have this animation, a lot of cool
like
music
on YouTube
and all these effects.
On YouTube, they just have the spinning wheel.
Yeah.
They always use a spinning wheel thing.
Yeah.
Wheel of Fortune or Price is Right style.
Incredible. After like all these years, you're still making content. You're still making videos. Earlier, you said that this is kind of your way of just sharing like things about your life, the things that you enjoy. Is there any other things that keep you motivated to continue to do this on a regular
Another
level?
thing, I guess, is getting the most out of a Lego set. And so we're spending money on a Lego set. So besides building it and putting it up on a shelf, I'll also get my money's worth if I spend time doing a stop motion with it.
Yes.
Spend time taking photos, taking photos of it. Spend time writing a script about it. Spend time filming it.
Yeah.
So I'm actually enjoying this set
to its nth level.
Yeah.
Aside from just like building it and then putting it up. And so that's also a reason why like the backlog is there, because I'm enjoying these sets, even though Maria's like, "What? You already finished it?"
I know.
But I'm actually doing
You're
other
eating
stuff.
it like popcorn.
I'm actually doing other stuff with it too, like
Yeah.
because she'll come down and she'll see me like taking photos of it, or like, and like I'll be like writing stuff about it, and then doing my videos of it.
Yeah.
So I'm what motivates me is just I like the Lego, but I also want to get my money's worth. And because a lot of people are like, oh, I don't want to do a review of this, or oh, I don't want to make a video about this. But in my mind, it's like I enjoy doing those things. Plus,
it allowed you to really reflect.
Yeah, like soak in this set even longer, because I don't like taking my time building, because I know like some people are like, oh, okay, I just want to build it.
Yeah,
because I just like, and as you get like since 2012 to now, you get fast at building because you recognize the pieces upside down, turned over, or whatever. So you just grab it. You don't have to sort anymore. If there's a pile of pieces on table and you see a piece you need, you just grab it. You don't even you don't have to look for it. You you automatically see it because you've been seeing this piece for how many years, right?
Yeah.
It's like our eldest son is learning how to drive, and we're telling him, the more you practice, you don't even think about driving anymore. You just drive. So the more you build, you don't even think about the piece anymore. You just grab it and grab and go, right?
Right. That's a great way to look at it, honestly. I never really thought about it as getting the most out of the set per se, but it makes a lot of sense. Your almost philosophy on how you look at you look at the hobby of Lego.
It's a hobby. A lot of people experience their hobbies in a different way.
Yeah.
Not everyone would want to do it how I do it. They'll enjoy Lego their way.
Yeah.
And sometimes, for many people too, that the chase is always more exciting than the hunt. It's like you dream about something, anything, but then once it's in your house, you're just kind of like, oh, okay, what now? Right? So given time constraints and everything too. But in this scenario, it's like really enjoying even that presence of it being in your property at that point. Right? Because I mean, I'm bad too. I love books. I've been collecting books. That's another humongous collection. If there is a video, YouTube kind of reviews I can do, it'll be book reviews. For example, I have a ton of books.
The book Zapper?
Never read in my lifetime. It's so sad. And been collecting since I was maybe 10. This kind of volume of books, and there's probably
they're called Everyman. Have you ever heard of Everyman Library books?
That's the publisher, and they're hardcovers, and
they have it's a specific look.
Oh,
yeah. And so I just fell upon it. I've always liked books.
You have all of them now, don't you?
All of them. And every year they still release maybe 4 or 5 per year now, moving forward. Yeah. But it's taken me since I was 10 to pretty much find them in like even used bookstores or Amazon or Barnes and Noble, or in our case, Chapters Indigo. And over the years, again, there's something called, when you're younger, there's birthday money or whatever kind of allowance money. Yeah. And then you realize, wow, adult money is bad. Like, how do you use adult money?
Disposable income.
Disposable income where, okay, I've paid off this bills and, my children are fed and X, Y, Z. And suddenly you're like, do I really, really save so much for a rainy day? Do I save so much that one day I can buy a child a home? I don't know, right? Every parent is so different. Or do I buy all the books I want? And so to me, books are innocuous, right? I feel like, but my children are like a little bit afraid of my book collection. They're like, oh my God, Mom, who's going to take your book collection? Let alone the Lego collection, mind you, right? But again, just...
she has her library.
But I do feel bad that I do get so excited when a book's about to be released. I probably even have it pre-ordered and stuff like that. And then it comes and I have it in my hands. And then I reshuffle my shelves again, making space for this.
She doesn't read these books too, because she wants them in mint condition. So she'll borrow them from the library.
I will borrow the exact edition from our library and read that copy.
That is
my crazy.
Or whatever, like digital books.
Yeah,
or
digital books. I mean, they are
audiobooks
right?
too. You do your audiobooks.
Yeah, like Dickens, Edith Wharton, Jane Austen's. Like I love reading so much. But to me, it's like just the joy of having. Which is a whole, I don't know if there's, I know I've read like psychology on just that having mentality, the collector mentality.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And it takes a collector to know when, like I said, to no one, right? To
Yeah.
understand that need to satisfy, right? And it isn't breaking the bank, hopefully not. But again, I have so many books that I'm like, one day when I retire, because there's only
You're gonna read
Yeah.
them?
Yeah, I'm gonna read
You'll
them.
read them.
If I still have my eyes,
It's
oh my
for
God, my mom just
retirement.
had
It's for
cataract
retirement.
surgery. Yeah.
That's why I have all my DVDs. One day I'm gonna sit down and watch all
all
my
of them,
shows.
right? Yes, exactly.
Even though they're all
The-
they're not all able to stream, because sometimes something will be on a platform and then they'll be like, okay, they're gonna remove it
Mhm.
from that platform.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, no. And in this case for Nick, that he is actually enjoying very much his hunt, and it's not just the case.
Do you think you'll be doing this in another 10 years? Like making content with your Lego?
I don't know,
We are running out of
because
space.
whenever I'm like into a hobby, something else will pop up, and then I'm into that thing.
Like, don't get me
Right.
wrong. Like when we're marathoning everywhere.
Like I've done 13 full marathons.
Wow.
I've done probably like 30 to 40 half marathons,
Mhm.
a bunch of other smaller races. And this was between the years 2007 to 2012. I stopped doing marathons when I got into the Lego hobby.
Yeah.
I stopped training.
It's crazy.
I was a lot
right?
thinner.
Like the handoff, and like, I'm like, oh my God, we're so intense with our marathon. And there are
Yeah.
times where like, I don't know if I have energy to do this. And so Lego came as a reprieve. And then now all this, right? It's like,
Right.
where does the balance kind of takes over? But again, I think in
Yeah.
terms of like is it addictive personalities or collective personalities?
Yeah.
That kind of takes over. But we like to do things to the nth level, I feel like with anything.
You go all in on something when
until
you're
it kind of
interested.
dulls, right?
Yeah.
But again, with something like Lego, they've been very smart with marketing, that there's always something out there to get your saliva juices going. That's tasty.
Gringotts.
Like Gringotts, right? Like I see this set and I'm just like, oh my God, like I'm here going, oh, I'm so detached from Lego, I'm happy with what we have. And then
And
boom,
then you
they
see a
show you
set.
like, and you're just like heart thumping and you're like, wow, why am I feeling like this? So.
Bricker builds, what are you doing to me?
That's sad, how they do have Gringotts on the box with a very dramatic black background and then blue smoke around it. Makes it look so
It looks
so
way
cool.
yeah.
But when you actually see it beside the entire what's it called, the Diagon Alley and stuff like that, it's okay. It looks a bit naked in its presentation, but again, the power of packaging.
Yeah.
Right? But that said, we don't keep any of our Lego boxes. I kind of feel a little bit wistful about that too, because some of these boxes are beautiful. Like
I don't really care about the boxes.
He doesn't care about the boxes, but sometimes like, what is it? Is it the Ferrari? Like there's some cars when you open it, like the boxes are just
the Technic supercar, the
like,
supercars.
it's just beautiful.
Yeah.
How the thought, right? It's not just the Lego pieces inside.
They designed the box, absolutely.
So beautiful with even the what's it called? The instruction manuals, right?
Yeah.
How there's like history. Like I kind of lap those things up. Like I do appreciate all the effort.
Because they're like books.
The designers put into creating you a gift, right?
Yeah.
So I always love how things are presented.
Yeah. That's incredible. I took some time to go through, do my research, look at your channel and look at your content, and just the sheer amount of videos there is incredible. We've touched on this multiple times tonight, but it's incredible that you have all of this content. Like you said, you have things scheduled through the next year even. What kind of, like, where do you see the content itself growing? Like, how do you think it's going to evolve, since this is something you're still interested in and motivated to make?
Like, things that I've changed are like thumbnail styles, edits in like I've started putting like subtitles, stuff like that, like different things I've just been kind of adding in.
He has reels, he has stories.
That's
So, like,
true. Short form too,
like
right?
whatever.
Right.
Yeah, whatever kind of comes up in the future, I guess we'll just kind of keep changing.
And it's interesting because I feel like
it's hard to predict how.
Perhaps this had always been his calling. This whole need to like edit content.
Well, like even like in school, whenever we'd have a project, like in high school or even in university, whenever there's a project, I'd always make a video. And back then it was like, recording it on a camcorder, and then you'd have to put it onto a VHS tape. But your edits would be like pressing record on the VHS tape and then stop, because we didn't have like
what's a VHS tape?
We didn't have like a computer system yet. The first time I was able to play around with a computer system was in university, where we'd have to book the library, like the main library at the University of Toronto. And then we'd have this big editing room there that we would go into. But like even before that was like just makeshift with our, like the edits would have to be with our camcorder and just saying take 1, take 2 and writing down where like on paper where the cuts are and stuff like that.
And I feel like it's always been his interest. Like again, we went to school together since elementary.
Oh yeah,
school.
you were in some of my videos.
Yes, and so even for like English presentations, you know, he would always write out the script. He would do all the ideas for content in terms of
we'd have the music,
characters and music, and so it's always been like a calling for him. It's
so you've always been making videos.
Yes.
I just like doing it.
Yeah,
that's very cool.
But that wasn't my profession. That wasn't any. Like,
which is too bad, right? Like again, like as parents now, I'm trying, you know, to steer my kids to what passions they have. Although you don't really know your passions maybe until later, but I'm sure we see inklings of those already when you're young. Like Nick too, right? Like I've always loved art, and I too am not in art, but it's something that I still celebrate. I still try to incorporate in my free time when I can. I always have a notebook with me. If I have ideas, I jot them down, or sketches, right? But imagine if, you know, he had been steered into that sort of professional life. But then would you not enjoy it?
Yeah, maybe,
right?
because it was, I like it as a hobby.
A different sort of take.
I think I liked it more as a hobby. Well, when it's for school though, it's not really a hobby. It's, you have to get it done.
When it becomes school or work.
Yes. It's
like
not,
but I still found it fun though for school, even though you had to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
have you ever thought
being
about
the director?
Have you ever just thought about doing this sort of thing full time?
No, I never really did. Because I don't really want to do it for the views or the money.
When there's suddenly maybe when you put the connotation of work, maybe it loses its luster.
I just want to do it as like, I'll be editing on my spare time.
And
I always do it on my phone. I never do it on the computer.
Right.
Everyone's like, how do you edit all on your phone? And it's just on my phone. I just
yeah.
And then he connects that with fun. This is fun. This is fun. Escape, right? Something joy. That gives, exactly, joy.
It's a hobby.
You know,
it's great.
Light. Yeah.
Yeah. You've been experimenting. Well, not experimenting, but definitely since you spent so much time in this space, right? There, things like short form didn't exist until the last couple years. How has that affected your time making content? Because now you're also making things like shorts and reels and TikToks.
I don't really think of it as short form. It's more just like another type of video happens to be like short. You know,
it's in the form
that happens to be happens to be less than a minute long.
Right.
So even like before I was doing like before the full of brick reels, I would stick on as my shorts my stop motion builds that were like short.
Yeah.
So like the sets that were like less than 100 pieces.
Yeah.
So for example, like a brick head or a poly bag, if I do a stop motion build for that, it's short. So then I would just intentionally film it vertical.
Yeah.
And then stick it as a short, as like a video, instead of having, because a video that short, film like publishing it as like a regular YouTube video is too short. So when the shorts came, I'm like, I can actually do a stop motion with these brickheads now or something.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, that's another video I can make.
Yeah.
And then when the reels came, it was just basically me finding funny stuff during the show and then putting like the captions and then the music. And then Maria's like, oh, I said that.
Yeah. Again, like I feel like this kind of conversation we're having is just like a one-time thing, right?
Yeah.
Like just shared ideas, shared experiences, and So, and again, like in terms of sleep, like Nick has always like woken up at 3 a.m, whether it be for school once upon a
Pokemon
time,
Go. I'm still used to it because
or
of Pokemon Go.
training for a marathon, and now Pokemon Go.
Oh
But
yeah,
I'll be
because
in
I used to be
bed.
running when it was
Yeah,
dark.
he would run before school. So he'd be running at
Wow.
3 a.m. and then be ready for school for 5 a.m, right? I would just hear it in the background. I'm like, oh my God, did I just go to sleep? And I hear my voice. I'm so annoying. Like,
So
but he'll
making
be
it
like
real.
editing. And I'm like, why can't you put your headphones on?
We've touched on the fact that you've done so much with YouTube and have tons of videos now. The short form content seems like a natural thing to you. It doesn't seem like there was any massive change there. You've talked a little bit about doing live streams and things like that. You've been doing some live streaming, but one thing that's a little newer, from what I can tell, is this whole Twitch side of things. What are your thoughts so far, or at least initially looking at Twitch? Because I know you've met with a lot of our Twitch Lego community at Brick World and have kind of dipped your toe into it. What are your thoughts on the Twitch side of content creation?
I like the fact that I can find a live stream almost every single time I go to my Twitch app on my phone.
Yeah.
Whereas on YouTube, not every single minute of the day there's someone live streaming.
Yeah.
So I'll go to my app on my phone. I'll press the Twitch app, and then I'll press the button that says follow, and then either like
Lego people.
Yeah, that are streaming, and so it's just that's a big difference. That's pretty cool. As for like, I tried streaming on because back in the day, I also used to do a lot of live builds too on the Brick Adjuster channel. I think I would call them Let's Build. And even when I came back in 2021, I was doing daily live builds for like 3 hours just to get my hours up.
Yeah.
But it was a lot easier because people were coming in. So I'd have like a crew of like 5 people like rotating in, and so chatting. So it wasn't a lot of just me by myself.
Yeah.
When I tried it the other day, I think it was like a Thursday or maybe it was a Tuesday. It was hard. And so I give like you kudos and AZ kudos and Fred kudos of being able to just talk by yourself. Well, you're talking with the chat as well.
Yeah.
And it was easier when there's someone in the chat to talk to, but when no one's in the chat, and me just coming up with something to say rather than, okay, now I'm gonna
have a dialogue.
Take this piece and where's this 2x4 and
a narration
and talking
almost.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting, this whole Twitch thing. I didn't even realize it was another forum until like this year after Chicago. Like when you guys were saying, they stream on Twitch. I'm like, what's Twitch? And then it's just so much for me. And I'm still I want to say like old Filipino woman now at this point where I'm like on Facebook and maybe Instagram is pushing it a little bit. My mom does not have Instagram. I even made an Instagram account for my mom. But you know what I mean? It's like I can't even keep up with just the rate of all these forums available, right?
Yeah.
Like as much as I say I try to maximize.
But Twitch has always been here. It was mostly like a gaming
I
type
see like Discord before. So like it
was like someone streaming themselves playing a video game.
Oh, I see.
And so they would have the video game on and they'd have like a little square of their face.
I see.
And but now with the whole Lego building community, it's a new thing now where like someone's actually building rather than playing a video game.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But it's just exploded over the years. The pandemic kind of pushed it over the top.
Home.
So streamers, I mean, when I started on this website, I was streaming video games. And then I became a Lego streamer, and then I became a talk show host. So it's just it's a weird thing. But
well, you do all 3 now.
I do.
You do all 3.
I do all 3
you
now.
Still do you do Diablo.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I have a game night, a Lego night, and a talk show night. So
yeah,
it works. It's a whole thing.
Yeah. I guess reciprocity wise, what was your take into Lego? I'm curious too.
Oh, yeah.
Because you were a gamer, and then of course, yes, Lego is in itself a game, right? It's a build.
Yeah.
It's still in the toy form of pleasure.
Yeah, I was my Lego story is not unlike I think many AFOLs. I grew up with it. Lego was one of my main toys and interests as a kid.
Yes.
That was in the 90s, and so I was really into a combination of like Blacktron, Mtron, the space sets.
Oh, okay.
So I had a lot of those. I had a lot of the pirate sets.
You still
Yeah, I was
you
gonna
still
say,
have them?
castle, or are you space?
I don't have them anymore because my parents sold them in a garage sale.
Oh,
Those parents.
and they probably
heartless.
sold them for so cheap too.
Yeah,
Just take
someone
it. They said,
scored
"We'll
big.
pay you."
Someone
Yeah.
scored big.
They call those Facebook Market moms now because people go to Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah.
And the Facebook Marketplace moms sell their kids Lego for so cheap.
Yeah. Yeah. So I grew up with it. I loved it. And then, I became a teenager and I got more interested in playing video games, of course, but also just Lego kind of hung out in the background. I mean, they were in my room. I still had them around, but I wasn't buying new sets all the time. I wasn't stopping to play with them as much, but they were on the shelf. And then I went off to college, and then I left them at home, and then my parents sold them.
Oh,
but
my gosh.
I know every so often though, I would buy a set. It would be like a little set, like a poly bag or something small, a small box set. And I would just play with it, and I'd be like, cool, and sit on my desk. And I was like, that's really fun. But it wasn't like a regular thing. And then, I became a working adult. And every so often I would see sets. I'd be like, oh, that's really cool. Maybe one day I'll get back into it. And ironically, it was my wife's aunt, they're very close. Like her aunt and her parents are really close. So we'd see her almost every holiday. And one year, she's like, Lego seems like something you would really enjoy. It was out of the blue.
Oh.
She bought me a Star Wars Lego set.
Oh, wow.
Which one?
It was like a TIE fighter. And so I was like, oh, this is dope.
Oh.
Like, it's still up on top of my bookshelf back there. It's hard to see.
That's
but
cool.
Oh, nice,
it was just a random Christmas gift. And I was like, oh, this is really cool. And it just sat there, and I would pull it off the shelf, and I'd look at it. I was like, oh, this is cool. And one day, this was like a year or two later, and I'd get little sets from her every so often. So I'd have little sets and minifigs from her.
Oh, that's cute.
One day, because she'd buy all these Lego for the kids too. And so one day I saw that R2-D2.
So you never amalgamated the kids and your Lego at that point yet? It was still my Lego.
Yeah,
and
it was.
Lego.
Yeah, I would help them with theirs. One day, the newer R2-D2 set came out.
Oh, yes.
Okay, yeah.
Yes.
And that was kind of the catalyst. I saw it. I was like, that'd be really sweet to just have and build. It'd be fun. I could put it on my shelf. It'll be cool. It could go next to my TIE fighter. Yeah. And so I ordered it, and I was excited. I was like, cool, I'm gonna build this. And I got the email that confirmed the order, but then I immediately got the email that said it was on back order. And so I was like, guess I'll get it in a couple weeks. That's unfortunate.
Right.
And so I slept on it. I was like, man, I got all excited about building a huge Lego set. So I went back on the website.
You got something else.
And I got something else.
Ah!
So it was the Daily Bugle.
Oh boy.
The Daily Bugle, which is back here.
Yeah.
And I'm a big Spider-Man fan.
That is
I'm a
such a
huge
great set.
Okay.
I'm a huge Spider-Man fan. That goes
Great
back to me.
minifigures in that.
It goes back to collecting comic books, which I mentioned earlier.
Very cool.
Massive Spider-Man fan. So I bought the Daily Bugle. It showed up in like 2 weeks. And I was getting ready to build it. And at this point, I'd been streaming for years. I've been streaming gaming. And at this point, I was like, well, it'd be kind of fun to just see what people think about me building a huge Lego set on stream.
Right.
It must have been, 2020? 2020 right now?
Yeah.
I think so.
Pandemic.
I think Daily Bugle came out 2020.
Yeah. And so I quickly threw another webcam up, pointed at my desk, and I cleared it off, had all this stuff on. I was like, I'm just going to stream it live. It'll be crazy. And I had such a good time. because one, it was a Spider-Man set. So like, and that set has a ton of minifigs. I was like, oh dude, I love this character. And I was just building it. I got like through the first level of that modular and I was like, man, I just want to like stay up and build the whole thing tonight. I didn't, but I
just like
me
the
next day and the next day. And I ever since then, like I was just building Lego on stream. And so it was kind of a two, not unlike how you look at it, Nick, where you're like, I want to like get more joy out of it, you know, maximize like the experience. And I think there's something special about talking to other people while I do it and sharing that with people live. And
that's how you're getting your maximize.
Yeah. And streaming is like a huge passion of mine too. Like you, I would never want to do it full time. I would never want to make a job out of it, but I really love the interaction of streaming and building a community of people that have similar interests. And so I've been doing it ever since. AZ Pinoy was the first person that I really met in the community that I really got to know. And
were you streaming Lego? Were you streaming Lego before Fred and AZ?
There's a weird time somewhere in there that I did it once. And it was a much smaller set. It was another Star Wars set that my wife's aunt got me. And it was out of the blue. And it was really just me goofing around. It was one time. It was in like 2016, 2017. And that's how I met Brick and Nick.
Okay.
And Set to Build.
Lego Masters.
Oh, okay.
And Brick and Nick, Lego Master, won the most recent season. And what was amazing was I'd never stopped thinking about those two. And those were, they're considered like some of the original Twitch streamers of Lego. And I've followed them ever since. I've known about them ever since, but never in my head did I put it together that I could do it regularly until the Daily Bugle thing happened.
And but when you were doing the Daily Bugle, was AZ and Fred already doing their streams?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they were? Okay.
They were.
Okay.
And what was really interesting was I was looking for people to send my viewership to when I ended. So Twitch has this whole feature called rating.
Oh, yes.
So this is Twitch's way of keeping people on their website. But it's a great community builder in that when you're ready to finish, you can send everyone over to another channel that was watching you.
Right.
And so I was getting ready to raid out, and I like to raid people that are doing the same sort of thing that I'm trying to do in that time. I was like, I don't even know any Lego streamers. The only two people I know are Brick and Nick and Set to Build. They're not on. And so I searched, and I found AZ Pinoy. I was like, oh, it's a Filipino even. I was like, hell yeah. And he was building a Technic set, and I raided him. And then he introduced, like, I watched him like the next time he was live, and he raided into Fred, and I met Fred. And then after Fred, the floodgates kind of opened, and I met Dr. Cat Builds. I went back to see Brick and Nick and Set to Build, and there was at that time, I would say a much smaller community of brick builders, but I met them all over the next month. And I've been involved ever since. And then that group has grown massively in like the last 3 years. So like
Have you met them in person?
No. So Brick Slopes is going to be huge for me because I'll get to meet Fred and Ace and all of them.
Prom pics. I'm so jealous.
Prom pics.
I completely missed it. I didn't even know it was a thing. I just saw pictures after.
Yeah. But yeah, that was cool. That's how I got into it. And at that time, that became like the main content. I was only Lego for like a good year and a half. And
have you met any other AFOLs in person?
No.
No.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
But I've met so many here on Twitch and on the internet.
Yeah.
Like I'm deeply embedded on the Twitch side. Like I know a lot of them now. And so this is...
Are you among your friends known as the Lego Guide?
Now I am.
That you're... Oh, okay.
Okay.
Now I am, yeah.
They know now what to get you for your birthday and Christmas. Definitely.
I know, it's so funny because
commitment.
now my
You said do
wife's
not have.
aunt, my
Yeah.
wife's aunt is now like, oh wow, you have so much more Lego now. I'm like, yeah.
You can say you started this.
Yeah, it's like, this is kind of your fault. This is kind of your fault.
You're like, just give me gift certificates.
Yes, I was gonna say just
Yeah,
gift
gift
Just give me
cards.
gift
I'll
cards.
take that.
Gift cards are, but yeah, that's kind of been my
Okay,
like
cool.
Lego journey. I had a dark age where I just didn't have Lego, but there was always like a moment here and there where I would get a Lego set and I'd build it, and I was like, gee, that was really fun. Like, that was really cool.
Yeah.
And it would sit on a shelf or on my desk, but it never became a regular thing until like almost 3 years ago. And now it's just like, yeah, I'm buying Lego on a regular basis. I'm building almost every day. So
Yes.
yeah.
When you stream video games as opposed to streaming Lego,
Yeah.
is there a difference? Do you find there's a difference in the way
yeah.
that you stream?
Oh yeah.
How so?
So Lego building, I treat more like, there's a category on this site called Just Chatting.
Okay.
And there's some of us who actually stream directly to Just Chatting. And it's that where you're talking to the camera, having discussion and conversation, either just by monologuing or talking to the chat generally. But I treat Lego like that, where Lego's there, I'm building the Lego and we're talking about the Lego. But, like any normal conversation, you start to get side discussions or other things that come up, other tangents that you discuss. And so that becomes more about, something that happened at work, or, this latest restaurant I went to eat at, or this new movie that's coming out. And so I treat it very much like, yes, this is Lego. It's the main camera that you're looking at, but we're chatting about whatever's happening in the community or in my life or the world. Whereas with games are, I still treat it like that. I talk about any topic that comes up, but admittedly, my focus is very different, right? With Lego, even though I'm trying to put pieces together, I can stop and talk to people. I can.
That's right.
When you're video gaming, you have to really concentrate on
my
right.
focus
whatever it is
is
you're doing.
split, and so I'm mostly like, I'm talking to you, but it's very clear that Amor is like staring at the screen and clicking a mouse and hitting buttons frantically, and so that is a very different feeling than when I'm putting together Lego, where the focus is more on the discussion and hopefully better engagement. I mean, I always try to be engaging regardless, but the gaming makes it tougher.
What do you like better, and what's easier?
I mean, I like the Lego more because I think I walk out of those Lego streams feeling better. I like building Lego because I find it very cathartic. There's something relaxing about building something. I'm generally a set builder, but if I'm mocking like with my kiddos, I find it really relaxing either way, where I'm just like, I'm going to build something great. It's going to be cool. I find it very relaxing. And so for me, I feel better coming out of a Lego stream because I got to do that. I find gaming's relaxing as well, but it hits different parts of my brain in that the coordination, the hand-eye coordination, the problem solving is nice. Like, I feel like sometimes I accomplish things, but I'm also probably more wired than I was coming out of a Lego stream because I'm generally playing action games.
Right, the pace is different.
The pacing is
Lego
different.
is more languid. There's only so many pieces you can put at a fast pace, right?
Yeah, and so technically I would say the gaming side is easier because you kind of know what you're doing. You kind of know what you're doing. Your brain kind of goes on almost autopilot because you're like, oh, I'm going to play this game. I'm going to shoot aliens, or I'm going to swing my sword and click a lot, right? And
whatever it is.
Whatever it is, it's very... I get to turn off a lot of parts of my brain, which is nice. Whereas when I'm doing Lego, I'm relaxing, and that part's on autopilot. but a lot of my brain power goes to engaging the audience, engaging the viewers, and talking about their day, or getting to catch up with a lot of the people that tune in regularly. So,
like when I watched Hayden, our youngest, or even Mason, sometimes they're watching gameplay of like Roblox or Fortnite. Mm-hmm. I see the person, they're just like making funny comments about what's going on in the game and doing like funny voices and screaming and doing all this sort of thing. Is that the common thing, or is it more what you're saying where you're talking with the chat? Or do you feel like when you're doing the video game, are you having to do those voices and be funny like that too, or
to try to be more engaging?
Is that like a YouTube thing?
It's definitely, you see that on YouTube a lot. On Twitch,
you know what I'm talking about,
too.
right?
Yeah. The commentary, they make a joke, or they're trying to be very super entertaining. I mean, this kind of goes to like me looking at how I do streaming in general. And, you know, you have these very high energy streams out there that are like what you described. And I don't consider myself like that. I'm still like enthusiastic and not energetic, but I'm not trying to crack a joke every 20 seconds. I'm not trying to do
I guess that's like the Mr. Beast of streaming.
Right. Exactly.
Where it's like so high paced. That's like
there's these different styles of stream.
TD Bricks type of
there's these version. Different approaches, and I think anyone would agree who's watched me in all of 6 years, which there's actually quite a few of them out there. Regardless of the content that I produce, I tend to lean on my engagement, having hopefully good conversations, but I'm not as like the gameplay is almost secondary. The Lego, not that it's secondary because I'm still enjoying the Lego, but like if someone brings up something in the chat and they want to have an actual discussion about it, I'm always willing to like step aside and switch the camera to my face and we'll talk about it. And so it's a style thing. There's a lot of streamers who do what you described, where they're like the high energy commentary, cracking a joke all the time. That's just a style thing. Yeah.
I see. Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
This is fun. I mean, I know we could do this even longer, but I definitely will. I think we should work towards wrapping it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I want to first thank you both for being here with me tonight. This was a lot of fun.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah, for sure.
And I recommend people visit Brick Adjuster here, both on Twitch, but also on YouTube as well. And you're pretty much on all the major platforms, like TikTok and Instagram as well.
Yeah, I'm there.
Excellent.
And then we might be on Twitch tomorrow.
You might be on Twitch tomorrow, so click that follow button.
We don't even have a name. Do we have a name?
Sorry?
Do we name ourselves? Is it anything?
For what?
Tomorrow's Twitch?
I mean, I
feel like we're going back school now, but
like the title.
We're actually building. I'm finally building.
We'll call it like
stream.
Let's Build or something. Or live
there you go. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining me. As is often what I do at the end of the show, I leave the final moments to the guests to have any kind of final thoughts, things that they would like to mention or reflect upon in those last minutes or seconds of the show. So finally, again, thank you, both of you, for being here. And I'm going to leave the end of the episode to you two to close it out.
I'd like to plug our new podcast. It's on the ELPN YouTube channel. For those in the chat right now, if you can kindly go to ELPN on that's the letters E, L, P, and N on YouTube. We have a new podcast called Hollow Hollow Time. Mora is on it. Panfred Nudo, AZ Pinoy, Rob the Builder, myself, Ate Maan, maybe No More Bricks. We'll see. And so, what is this podcast about?
So again, like I was pleasantly surprised by the number of Filipino AFOLs that I saw at Brickworld Chicago. And I thought it would be such a great way to connect. Again, how our interests brings us together, given that we've been raised here in North America, and yet our identities are, of course, still very much influenced by the Filipino culture, right? So I think there's a lot of content that we can definitely talk about in this Halo mix. It could be funny, like we talk about food and some maybe superstitions. Maybe we should make it thematic, like on Halloween. I have all these ideas,
and just
but
how it relates to our Lego hobby.
Yes, exactly.
And so the first episode was posted this past Monday, and we're gonna be having episodes bi-weekly coming up, and so
stay tuned.
Stay tuned for that, and it's a lot of fun.